If you hate MrBeast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame for money.
Technically, everyone watching this video has more money than me, and their bank account.
MrBeast built one of the biggest brands on YouTube by giving away huge amounts of money. But according to public allegations, there were also moments where he may have been making money behind the scenes in ways that raised serious questions. First, there was an NFT project he publicly talked about before later selling related holdings. Then there was a charity-linked crypto token connected to his Team Seize campaign that was reportedly sold during a major fundraising event. After that came another crypto project connected to his name that followed a very similar pattern. That's three separate situations that critics say look surprisingly alike, and the person bringing these claims forward isn't just some random internet commenter. The investigation comes from Coffeezilla, a creator widely known for digging into crypto projects and exposing alleged financial scams.
Quote, these investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations. The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments. Some have been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other experienced.
So let's go back to the story that started getting everyone's attention in the first place. Back in 2021, the NFT craze was at its absolute peak. People were spending huge amounts of money on digital collectibles like CryptoPunks and believing they represented the future of the internet. During that time, MrBeast publicly mentioned CryptoPunks and suggested they were worth checking out. By itself, that's not unusual. Plenty of celebrities were talking about NFTs during that period. The bigger question comes from what was allegedly happening at the same time behind the scenes. According to Coffeezilla, MrBeast also invested around $100,000 during the early stages of another crypto project called Super, long before most people had even heard about it. Early investors often receive large amounts of tokens before public attention arrives, and investigators claim millions of Super tokens later appeared in a wallet linked to the investment. Critics argue this resembles a common crypto pattern. Someone buys in early while prices are low, public attention starts building, a well-known name becomes associated with the project, excitement grows, and early holders can sell while demand is climbing. Whether that's exactly what happened here has been heavily debated, but it's the timeline that caught so much attention. Reports claim roughly $200,000 worth of Super tokens were eventually sold. The timing is what many people focused on. On May 12th, MrBeast replied to a promotional post with a single word, Super. Within about 72 hours of that post reaching millions of followers, investigators say that same group of tokens had already been sold. Supporters could argue that's simply a coincidence. Critics, however, say the sequence closely resembles what people often describe as a pump-and-dump strategy.
Regardless of your intentions, selling tokens within a month of your 2-month charity auction is wrong, stupid, and unethical? Yes, I think that as well.
That's the point that sparked so much discussion across the crypto community. As more people started asking questions, MrBeast's team responded with an explanation that would later become a major part of the conversation. They said the investment decisions weren't being made directly by Jimmy himself. Instead, they said the assets were managed by experienced outside fund managers acting independently. Put simply, the explanation was, it wasn't Jimmy making those trades, it was professional fund managers. Some people accepted that answer. Others weren't convinced. Critics pointed out that the crypto industry has often operated with very little oversight, making claims about sophisticated fund management difficult to verify without more information. If that explanation fully settled the issue, many expected a few straightforward questions to be answered. According to Coffeezilla, that's not what happened.
The only reason we know MrBeast was in the presale is that there were several articles about it bragging about that fact. Once again, MrBeast's name was used to promote this instead of the fund itself. And internally to investors, I have to say, this built up a lot of excitement, not just because MrBeast is a huge name, but because XCAD had what's called creator tokens. So the idea to some investors is that, well, if they're investing MrBeast and KSI, what if they were ever to launch creator tokens? That would be massive.
He says he reached out looking for clarification, but claims he received no meaningful response for months. Whether there was a reason for staying quiet or not, critics argue that the silence only created more speculation instead of putting the questions to rest. From there, attention shifted to the wallet itself. Investigators say the wallet wasn't publicly identified as belonging directly to MrBeast. Instead, it appeared connected to an account using the name Wu-Tang Clan, which was reportedly associated with crypto enthusiast Jason Williams. Williams had openly discussed NFTs, worn-related merchandise, and linked his personal brand to that wallet. To some observers, that added another layer between the transactions and MrBeast, but others argue that later comments complicated that picture even more. During an older podcast appearance, MrBeast casually talked about buying CryptoPunks alongside Logan Paul after Gary Vee reportedly gathered them on a late-night call and insisted CryptoPunks were about to become the next Facebook. Critics say those comments don't sound like someone who had no involvement and simply let outside managers make every decision. Instead, they argue it paints the picture of someone who personally heard the pitch, personally decided to invest, and later openly discussed the experience on a podcast. Supporters, of course, may interpret those comments differently, but the discussion didn't end there. The situation that many critics consider even more serious involved a crypto token called EARN, which was connected to Team C's, the ocean cleanup campaign launched by MrBeast and Mark Rober. Because the project centered around charity, expectations were especially high. The fundraising auction was expected to continue for roughly 2 months. However, according to investigators, a fund connected to MrBeast allegedly sold around $2 million worth of EARN tokens before the event had finished. Critics claim those sales contributed to a sharp drop in the token's price, leaving many buyers holding assets that had lost most of their value. Those allegations became one of the biggest talking points in the entire controversy and pushed even more people to closely examine everything that came before it. Selling a token connected to your own charity, while that charity campaign is still underway, isn't something people expect to see. Critics argue that if those allegations are accurate, it creates a serious conflict between the project's public mission and what was happening behind the scenes. Many supporters believed they were backing an ocean cleanup effort, not becoming part of a crypto investment that could suddenly lose value. That's one of the biggest reasons this situation drew so much attention. There's another twist that people quickly pointed out. One of Team C's sponsors was Coca-Cola, a company that has frequently appeared in reports about global plastic pollution. That connection sparked even more debate online. So critics looked at the situation like this. An ocean cleanup campaign, backed by a major company often criticized over plastic waste, while a crypto token connected to that campaign allegedly lost value during the fundraising period. Whether people see that as unfortunate timing or something more serious, it's easy to understand why the conversation exploded.
Never believes anything I say. So, I mean, because they're like, you're a billionaire. I'm like, that's net worth. I have negative money right now. I'm borrowing money. That's how little money I have. Technically, everyone watching this video has more money than me in their bank account if you subtract the equity value of my company.
Then came XCAD, another crypto project built around creator-focused tokens connected to huge internet personalities like MrBeast and KSI. The idea sounded exciting because investors believed these creators could eventually launch digital economies centered around their own communities. That possibility alone brought a lot of attention to the project. Big names naturally attract big interest, and many people believed they were getting involved early in something that could become massive. According to reports discussed by Coffeezilla, a fund connected to MrBeast allegedly began selling XCAD tokens not long after launch, despite earlier statements suggesting they would be held for the long term. Coffeezilla also reported that XCAD's founder personally warned that continued selling could seriously damage MrBeast's reputation. According to those reports, the sales allegedly continued anyway, despite those concerns. Now compare all three situations side by side. Super, EARN, and XCAD. Different projects, different timelines, different communities. Yet critics argue that the overall pattern appears remarkably similar. The allegation is straightforward. Public attention grows around a project connected to MrBeast's name, excitement increases, prices rise, and then early holdings are reportedly sold while interest is still high. Whether that interpretation is ultimately fair remains disputed, but it's the repeated pattern that keeps people talking. One case might be explained away as bad timing. Two might still raise questions. But when similar allegations appear across three separate projects, critics argue it becomes much harder to ignore the similarities. Another point many people bring up is that MrBeast isn't someone who appears to need extra income from risky crypto investments. He's built one of the biggest creator businesses in the world. While he's joked in the past about putting nearly everything back into his videos, many viewers still find it difficult to believe financial necessity played any role in these decisions. That's one reason the criticism became so strong. People trusted a creator whose reputation was built on generosity, and some investors later felt that trust had been shaken after these crypto controversies surfaced. To Coffeezilla's credit, he doesn't present the story as completely black and white. He acknowledges there are different ways people can interpret the evidence and that not every question has a definitive public answer. If you're already a fan of MrBeast, you may believe outside fund managers made the key decisions or that the timing was simply misunderstood. If you're more skeptical, you might see these events as examples of a powerful public figure benefiting from excitement surrounding projects connected to his name. Both perspectives continue to be debated. The larger issue goes beyond any single token. When someone has an audience as massive as MrBeast's, even a single post can influence public interest. That kind of reach brings enormous responsibility because people often make financial decisions based on trust in the creator, not on anonymous investment managers working behind the scenes. That's why transparency matters so much. Clear communication, timely answers, and avoiding unnecessary conflicts can help prevent situations like this from growing into major controversies. Instead, unanswered questions, repeated explanations, and disappointed investors have kept this story alive long after the original projects faded from the headlines. So the debate continues. Were these simply unfortunate decisions made by investment managers acting independently, or do the repeated similarities across multiple projects deserve closer scrutiny? That's a question many people are still discussing today, and until more information becomes available, the conversation is likely to continue. Now it's your turn. What do you think after looking at all three cases? Were these just a series of bad decisions, or do you think the pattern raises bigger questions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves internet drama and creator news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.